A reading from the Gospel of St. John. Very truly I tell you, whoever keeps my word will never see death. The Jews said to him, "Now we know that you have a demon. Abraham died, and so did the prophets, yet you say, 'Whoever keeps my word will never taste death.' Are you greater than our father Abraham, who died? The prophets also died. Who do you claim to be?" Jesus answered, "If I glorify myself, my glory is nothing. It is my Father who glorifies me, he of whom you say, 'He is our God,' though you do not know him. But I know him. If I were to say that I do not know him, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I keep his word. Your ancestor Abraham rejoiced that he would see my day. He saw it and was glad." Then the Jews said to him, "You are not yet 50 years old, and have you seen Abraham?" Jesus said to them, "Very truly I tell you, before Abraham was, I am." So they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple. This is the Gospel of the Lord. In our Gospel reading today, Jesus uses a phrase that we have heard before, 2 little words, I am. And we've heard these words recently in our reading at morning prayer in the book of Exodus, when God called to Moses out of the burning bush. And Moses asks for the name of God. And God tells Moses, "I am who I am," and tells him, "Thus you shall say to the Israelites, 'I am has sent me to you.'" And so in our Gospel today, when the Jewish people heard Jesus using that same phrase of "I am," they knew what it meant. It's a bit like an episode of Doctor Who when the doctor says, "I'm the doctor, look me up," and gives the enemy a hard stare. Jesus, in this 2-word soundbite, reveals his identity and reveals his intimacy with God, the Holy Other. Now we might say that God is unknown and unknowable, but Jesus is the game changer who makes God known to us. It is through Christ that we have intimacy with God, the Holy Other. You might ask how. We're only human, and God is God. But the eternal Word became fully human to show us that human beings can be intimate with God. If we are followers of Christ, then we are called to emulate his intimacy with God. We are called to be Christ-like. In our Gospel stories, Jesus reminds us, tells us that we are children of God and asks us to behave as if we were. At this point, it might help us to look upon Jesus as our friend and brother. Because Jesus is fully human, we can claim him as our brother, in the way that the blessed saints used to when they prayed. Think of the prayer of St. Richard, when he said, "O most merciful Redeemer, friend and brother." And if we can claim Jesus as our brother, the next step is to realize that Jesus is God's beloved Son. If Jesus is God's Son, then we, his brothers and sisters, are ourselves children of God. This knowledge gives us a new dignity and the confidence to turn away from things that threaten to erode our dignity as a child of God. Thanks be to thee, my Lord Jesus Christ, for all the benefits which thou hast given me, for all the pains and insults which thou hast borne for me. Merciful Redeemer, friend and brother, may I know thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, and follow thee more nearly. Amen.